I'm Dick Moberg, and welcome to our interview series. A lot of interesting people pass through our doors who are doing amazing work in brain monitoring. We bring them into our studio, put a mic on them, and get the personal stories you don't normally hear. We hope you enjoy them. Hi, I'm Dick Moberg, and we're here with Ryan Myers from Vivonics, and he's here today to talk to us about his non-invasive intracranial pressure monitoring technology. And thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
That's great. Go. And he's going to talk to you about his technology and about some exciting news for his new spin-off company. So take it over.
Take it away. Yeah, so I appreciate you having us by, and I appreciate you having us show you a little bit about the iPass. So over the past 10 years, Vivonics has been working on government contracts, really trying to push research and development forward from more basic research through applied research and then development work. And what we've been able to do in that time period is really understand how the hemodynamics change within the body for various different conditions, as things like the contents of the blood change, glucose, blood alcohol, things like that, but then also how they change due to trauma and insult and things like that. So one of our products that we've been working on is iPass, which is a non-invasive intracranial pressure monitoring system. What we're doing is looking at how under certain pressures the hemodynamics within the brain change in reference to points outside of the brain. We've been able to show that that correlates to intracranial pressure changes within the brain itself.
Yeah, it's amazing. And as I think we all know, monitoring intracranial pressure non-invasively is kind of a holy grail. And I remember, as I was telling you, back in the 80s, applying for a grant, I think NASA was interested in it. So it's been a research interest for many people for many years. And what we've seen that Ryan's done looks very promising for a solution near term. So.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about your spin-off? This is so exciting. We talked about that in the bar last night.
Yep. Yeah, it's been so exciting to the point where we're ready to kind of take this to prime time, if you will, right? Vivonics is going to remain very much a research and development group and really loves to push kind of the limits of what we're able to do with kind of that research and development, a lot of clinical research, a lot of near-infrared research. But iPass is about ready for prime time here. So we're actually taking that and we're putting it into a spin-off called CranioSense, and a co-founder and I are taking that and kind of running in more of a commercialization approach, which is music to the ears of our sponsors from the DoD. Our goal is really to get this out there and really help thanks in a large part to that non-dilutive funding. In early next year we'll be hitting the streets, talking to people that are interested in backing us and really trying to bring this to market by through the FDA.
That's good. It's great, and it's a phase of development I've been in many times, and it's not without its challenges. But fortunately, you're in the Boston area, and you have a lot of fellow entrepreneurs up there too, and investors that can really help that going. So I think the environment really helps you a lot there.
It really does. Yeah, everybody's of a singular mindset that innovation begets, game-changing technologies within the space. So everybody's collectively, even though we have collaborators that are focused on pharma and colleagues that are focused on digital health and cloud-based solutions. It's all the same risk, all the same early mornings, late nights, weekends. So it's nice to be in that environment with other people that are going through it that aren't direct competitors too. Right? So we get to lament at the same time.
Well, speaking of that, there are a number of technologies for doing this that I've seen. I'm sure you have. And do you want to just talk about how yours works a little?
Sure. Yeah, and I think that speaks to the need that you were talking about. There's been a lot of people to look at this space and identify the need and try to overcome it. And I think the thing that sets us apart is really our ability to look into the brain itself and then use reference points around the body to basically not have to have this all-encompassing population-based algorithm. We can really look at the person and how they're reacting to the intracranial pressure, and we've been able to show that by using those reference points that we can develop an algorithm that can tell you, is there intracranial hypertension or is there not? And so our sensors are actually, the system itself, there's a standalone kind of visualization module. We do a bunch of, fancy data processing in here, houses our algorithm, and this is a prototype that we have from back in 2018. And this is kind of a nice handheld portion of it. And then from a technology standpoint, we have 3 basic sensors, and I think everybody that has been in the medical field or the critical care field will recognize some of these quite well and would be familiar with putting them on right off the bat, really. So what we have is a finger sensor. It looks very similar to a pulse ox. We have an ear sensor, and if you used a pulse ox in the past and can't get great peripheral circulation, you've thrown it on the ear, so that's not unlike kind of a pulse ox for the ear. And then we have a novel forehead sensor. And what the novel forehead sensor does is it looks at the superficial layer of the skin up front and then goes actually past the skull into the brain using near-infrared technology. And we can use that to subtract out a lot of the information that we're getting while we're going through and reference it to our brain readings. So in that way, we're able to kind of peek in back behind the skull and understand hemodynamically how everything is changing as pressure builds up or is relieved as we treat.
No, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I think you have a technology that's elegant and looks like it's going to be fairly easy to use too. So
I think the ease of use, the ease of use is great. I think it's something that we can actually bring to critical care. We're not it's not overly complex. It doesn't take a lot of time to apply and is familiar. So. We're really excited, both from a critical care standpoint, from the civilian side, but then also from the Department of Defense side, where it was originally conceived.
And I think this would be a great help out in forward care, where you're really interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have CT scans, you don't have a lot of things. So.
No.
And we were talking also on resource-constrained environments and countries. I think it'd be a big help there too.
Yeah, I think we've always identified it as an issue in the U.S. and in critical care in the U.S. I think that's amplified in resource-limited environments and even very rural parts of the United States where getting to a hospital is an 1.5 to 2 hour endeavor.
Yep.
If you go the wrong direction, it means a lot, right? So I think as we look at really the places where we can help. It's not just the U.S. and it's not just the Department of Defense, but it really lends itself well to areas where you're treating somebody and a hospital may not be an option for a significant period of time. So.
Right. And I think I recently read something like 90% of TBIs are in these low to moderate income countries, and where it's really needed. So.
Yeah, and 90%. And the sad point is, in the U.S. alone, there's about 2.5 million TBIs every year. So,
yep.
Multiply that. It can be pretty devastating, and I think it's because you can't get to a definitive care in time to really be able to treat them. So,
why don't we talk? I was fascinated by the slide you showed yesterday with the other applications, not just TBI. And it seems to be actually more applications than TBI out there. Do you want to talk about a couple of those?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think, as a small business, we have to remain kind of focused. And so as we go to market, we're really focused on traumatic brain injury as well as non-traumatic headache. Something like 4 million people in the U.S. come into an emergency department every year with a headache, right? And that's their primary complaint. Headache in general can have many different causes, but one of the more significant ones is raised intracranial pressure. They call that idiopathic intracranial hypertension. And diagnosing that is supremely difficult, right? You have these kind of commonplace symptoms of blurred vision, headache, altered mental status. It becomes difficult to diagnose, so you can get some imaging and things like that, but still there's no real great triage tool for situations like that. We can really help there. And then from there, like you said, it balloons. That slide shows a lot of numbers, and that's the unfortunate part of it, is stroke, both ischemic and hemorrhagic, have different profiles of intracranial pressure rises, different time spans, sepsis, right? Certain disease or certain viral infections like West Nile or Triple E are some of the things that we actually have more commonplace in lower to middle income countries. Acute liver failure, the list unfortunately goes on, hydrocephalus. So, I think from our perspective, we have a lot of helping that we can do. It's getting a product out there and then expanding to its availability, really.
I think you have a great future.
Yeah,
and
I hope
you
so.
seem to have some great technology, and so good luck.
Thank you.
I've been there, and it's exciting.
It's exciting.
It's challenging.
Yep.
But it's going to be probably one of the most rewarding things you've ever done, and I'm sure. So,
yeah, I think that's what drives us, is the sight of that reward at the end, the numbers, right? The amount of people that we can help. Mm-hmm. That's what keeps us going.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for stopping in, and
thanks for having us.
for telling us about your technology.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.